everyone. It's been a little bit since I made a video, and in that time there's been a whole bunch of discourse around Yu-Gi-Oh! I put some things up behind my head so you don't just look at a door when you watch these videos. I hope you don't watch these videos to look at the door, otherwise you'll be sort of disappointed. But kind of getting back to the discourse. So we're about a week away from when this video gets uploaded to the Battles of Legends Terminal Revenge release, at least the general release. So you've got a bunch of, standard Battles of Legends stuff. You've got reprints of their archetypes, Sprite, Branded's got a bunch of reprints as well, and then there's some new stuff, some legacy support cards for things like Ritual Beast, Ice Barriers, Gen X, to kind of name the big three, really. There's the Gen X Link one that apparently allows unlimited normal summoning, so I guess we'll see where that goes. It hasn't done anything in the OCG as far as I'm aware, but you never know. Without Max C, things could be different here. But, well, those are fine cards to talk about. Everyone likes Sprite reprints. I personally love Sprite. I'm very much looking forward to being able to get a copy of Blue that isn't $40, so that'll be nice. But while those are nice, what we're here to talk about is content. And what really is making content is a card that's not any of those. It is the cover card of the set, Dragon Master Magia. A level 12 fusion that requires 3 Blue Eyes monsters or Ultimate Dragon, and then a Chaos or Blackluster Soldier Ritual monster as material, and it must be fusion summoned. So there's that. So this card has a pretty decent effect. It's a once per turn negate of each type of card. So one monster effect negate, and then it also pops. So one monster effect, one spell, one trap. Can negate one of each turn, and then when it's destroyed, it floats into a BLS or a Blue Eyes card, essentially. So why is this card kind of being brought up? Why do people care about this card? Well, what they seem to care about is essentially the fact that it's only available as a quarter-century secret rare. There's been kind of, as the videos, like the preview polls from other content creators have come out, people have been saying, like, hey, what's going on here? Why isn't, wait, where is this card? And then it was basically revealed that, yeah, this is a quarter-century secret rare exclusive. I think it's outside of the Magicians of Bonds and Unity, which are kind of 25th anniversary promo cards, for lack of a better term. They are essentially it's the only card that's been released as a QCR exclusive. And that's kind of the controversy. It's so its price is high because of that. Like, I think a pre-order in Canada right now is like $500, so about 12 Yankee bucks. But I don't know what that translates into pounds. I'm sorry if there's any UK viewers. But so you got a card that's coming out in an extremely hard to pull rarity. And it's also got kind of a bit of, like, collector appeal. It's got Blue Eyes, Ultimate Dragon. It's got Magician of Black Chaos, 2 DM era anime, like, I don't know, iconic cards. Not as iconic necessarily as their, like, OG versions, Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, respectively. But still very, like, iconic, very important kind of cards to the general, like, what is it? Vibes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Essentially, or the, like, history of Yu-Gi-Oh! So there's kind of that, giving it a wide appeal for, like, the collector market. And you know what kind of the other part of this card is bad. It's a bad card. It's not good. No one's going to play it competitively. It has not been played competitively. It's not going to be played competitively. It'll probably find itself in some swamp water quality Blue Eyes and DM packages. But it's bad. It's like, even by the standard of anime support cards, it's bad. So why does that matter? What makes it so great? Or at least, what makes that decision by Konami to release it as a QCR exclusive so great? Because I'm gonna go with a hot take here. I think Konami did an awesome thing doing this. I think having a QCR card like this is an exclusive QCR pull in a reprint set like Battles of Legends that have typically been hit and miss as far as sales are concerned. I think it's a great idea. I love it. I will defend Konami on this one.
Please sponsor me.
No, I'm just kidding. But basically, you've got a card that has zero relevance to the metagame in Dragon Master Magia. No one's going to play this card competitively. It's never going to see competitive success outside of something like if all of a sudden we get a weird Blue Eyes Dark Magician fusion card and Protocol Line Verte Anaconda becomes legal again. That's just never going to happen. You're not going to see this card see competitive play. But because, like I said, it's rare and it also kind of has that DM appeal that we all love so much, is that it's actually going to be a big deal, I think, for the vendors and collectors side of the game. And it'll encourage collectors to buy product and make it better for vendors to actually hold on to this stuff. There's, like, as much as it's like the cost of cards sucks sometimes, and seeing that Dragon Master Magia is a $500 card on pre-order is kind of like, whoa, that's like a lot of frickin' money. At the same time, who cares? This isn't a card, this isn't a Snake Eye card. This isn't Diabell Star 2. This isn't this isn't SP Little Knight. This isn't a playable card. So by basically investing in kind of this like strange, or this not strange per se, but this collector specific market, Konami is essentially able to say like, hey, like, collectors, buy our product, buy like a case of Battles of Legends Terminal Revenge. Go and do that. Maybe you'll pull this $500 card. Your box might have cost you $300, but if you pull this one $500 card and it's only going to be a QCR print, then it's going to be valuable, and you're going to be one of the few people who have it. Or buy 3 boxes, see what you can get. Stuff like that. It's kind of I think it's actually a decent way for Konami to keep vendors happy without like completely alienating the player base. Like, they could have released something extremely powerful in Battles of Legend Terminal Revenge and said, here, we've printed Sprite Green, and it does everything. It's Sprite Circular, and it comes as a QCR. Or they could have done something like this. I'm going to take an example of a set. I actually have Dune back there, which kind of had the opposite problem, was that nobody bought enough Dunes. And a lot of the Dune cards that were really good and had good support for newer archetypes were actually commons or supers. Rescue Ace got a lot of support in there that made it possible to actually play it competitively, and they were both commons. So it was a little bit less alienating that way. There was like Revolution Synchron was the really only big chase card at a high rarity in that set, unless you wanted to go into like the Magician's Bonds and Unity. But the set I want to talk about actually is Age of Overlord. It was an absolute banger of a core set. It's sold out everywhere. You can't find it anymore. You've got SP Little Knight in there. You've got Diabell Star, the other Snake Eye stuff like Flamberge, the Horus cards, Typhon. These were all big chase cards. A lot of hype before they came out. Snake Eyes, especially now, even more so. Like, in hindsight, I feel like we underestimated the Snake Eye side of that package versus like just kind of looking at Diabell Star and her 2 support cards, the original Simple and Wanted. We kind of overestimated those 2, but now everything, like, that set is just bonkers when you think about it. Agov is not quite Power of the Elements, but it's very close. So the problem with Agov wasn't the quality of the cards, it was the distribution of them, the rarity distribution. You have SP, Diabell Star, Flamberge, Amseti, and Duasef, or Duamutif, we'll go with that. They're all secrets. And then Typhon and King Sark were ultras. And then there was, I think, Happy was a super rare for... So if you're getting an average of 2.5, give or take, secrets per box, one box will have 3, one will have 2. You could crack open 10 and you still wouldn't have a playset of Flamberge and Diabell Star, and possibly not even an SP to go with it, because you have to account for the other secrets that might not have been as high demand. Stuff like TG Glaive Blaster is just not as high a demand card as some of these ultras, Typhon and others were. So the vendors loved it. They were like, this stuff's selling like crazy. Like after Yu-Gi-Oh was dying because no vendors wanted to carry the product, LOB's reprint or re-release did incredibly well, and then Agov did great. So it was like, but players like kind of felt, I think a lot of the player base, like casual, especially like non-competitive, but like, you know, the casual crowd, which isn't necessarily the big whale spenders, but still important parts of the game's like overall ecosystem, didn't like it. SP was expensive. Everything was expensive. You like SP Little Knight now is a $150 card. Yeah, you might only need one of it, but you need to spend $150 on a single card, never mind building the rest of your deck. You can skip eating for a month and buy a Snake Eyes package. That'll get banned in 3 months, but for a few months you can enjoy it. But like these are key cards. Like SP Little Knight is not going anywhere. You're going to have to play it to be able to compete at the highest level. So it's kind of like you could have released as an Ultra, Konami. Like you could have thrown us a bone. Like Typhon is probably the closest thing to getting a bone we got thrown at us as far as the rarity distribution. Some of the I think one of the other Horuses, Kabenesef, I think is an Ultra as well. But that's like you're kind of grasping at straws here. Like the stuff from Agov that people really wanted is all rarity locked into secrets and Ultras. So there's that. That's kind of the issue here. But the reverse is essentially, they're kind of a solution that Konami seems to be presenting is this quarter century only anime referencing chase card with little to no meta relevance. Dragon Master Maggio. Which I don't think is a bad solution. I think people can be annoyed that Konami would do something like, oh, they're just being greedy releasing this clear chase card in only like, or this card that has a lot of appeal but only in one rarity, and it's the hardest rarity to pull. But it's also like, well, if Konami insists on doing these chase cards, it's like, I'll gladly have them be anime references that nobody's going to play competitively. It's like, so that the collector market can be happy, the vendor market can be happy, and the player base can actually say like, hey, there's affordable stuff in this set. We're not getting all of our really good crap locked into Ultras and secrets and quarter century secret rares. Like, give like kind of a, I'm interested to see how this little experiment, I think that's what it is really. I think Dune was, and never mind the Legendary Duelist sets, those are awful. Those need to be fixed, but that's a different conversation because I need more content. But I think Dune was kind of like, okay, maybe we need to tweak it a little bit more to the left here. Like, oh, maybe Preventer could have been an ultra rare. Maybe Emergency could have been an ultra. Maybe some of the Unchained support could have been an ultra. Like, just a little tweak to make it so that the reseller, vendors are still able to say, oh, cool, like people are actually buying buying these products that were not sitting here. Maybe even something like the Chimera cards, like maybe put that the fusion Chimera, the King of Mythical Beast retrain, whose name I can't remember right now, but maybe put him in the secret category. You know, just a little tweak. He's still an expensive card. I'm not saying that that's necessarily the way to go, but from a vendor perspective, it's important to have these chase cards available. Otherwise, they're just going to be sitting on the shelves because you're like, oh, cool, I'll just buy like singles of everything. And it's like, and then go from there. And it's like, if everything's common or like rare in like the deck build sets and stuff like that, it's like, cool, this is easy, but like when there's chase cards, sometimes there's like a little bit more incentive to be like, hey, you know what, I'm gonna buy a couple packs, I'm gonna buy a box instead of just buying singles and like see what I pull and go from there. And then I mean, the gotcha thing is still its own, like pulling packs is fun, let's face it. But yeah, back to Dune. I think Dune's kind of was a little bit too much one way, and I think Agov was an overcorrection. I think Agov had too much good stuff in the high rate. I think Phantom Nightmare actually kind of pulled it down a little bit. I'm not going to give them a ton of credit with Phantom Nightmare, but Lead did. Lead took the Tenpai stuff and was like, here, just have it. Just take this crap. Just do something with it. And I think like they're trying to kind of find that sweet spot where they can say, okay, we've got our vendors on board with how we're doing our product. and the player base is happy. Like, we gotta kind of hit that middle ground. I think it's like fine. Like if the player base is like right now, if the biggest problem with Yu-Gi-Oh was that Dragon Master Magia was a $500 card, I think the game would be in a great spot, and we'd be like, great, this is awesome. Like I have no issue with this. There are other issues, Snake Eye Ash, that need to be dealt with as well. But I'm actually really interested to see how this Terminal Revenge set sells and how vendors respond to it more than anything with Konami, because it's very much like it's an interesting experiment. But yeah, that's kind of just what I think. I think, in summary, QCR only Dragon Master Magia, all for it, as long as they don't reprint it in a year and crash the price and really piss off the vendors and collector market. I think it'll be okay. I don't think it matters too much to the player base unless you really wanted this one specific card, but tough. Sometimes we're gonna have to make sacrifices, and I'd rather have playable stuff be cheap and non-playable garbage be expensive. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Let me know if you agree, disagree, have something else you want to add. Great. Just make sure you like and subscribe before you do that. Otherwise, I will not pay attention to anything you have to say. Thanks, and bye.